Hello. A strong banking and credit system that emerged in England in the 17th century was a factor enabling the Industrial Revolution to take place. Features of banking familiar today, the provision of current and deposit accounts, keeping of cash reserves and production of balance sheets all appear. Coutts and Company, founded in 1692 and now part of NatWest, is the 8th oldest bank in the world. The Bank of England was established by a royal charter in 1694, essentially a private bank, but the royal charter guaranteed dominance and a pivotal role as a central bank in maintaining financial stability. It became the government's banker, took over the national debt in 1750 and became the banker's banker. As the Industrial Revolution was getting underway, a three-tier system had emerged. Beneath the Bank of England, some 20 or so private banks were servicing the London money market, and around a dozen small provincial banks issued their own notes. Country banks with substantial reserves of cash invested in the city. City banks in turn purchased government debentures from the Bank of England. If reserves ran low, the system was reversed. However, established banks, used to meeting the needs of the wealthy upper classes, were not geared to providing the sophisticated financial services required by new industrial businesses, needs that included the provision of fixed and working capital and short and long-term credit to ensure cash flow through the different stages of mass production to the marketing of finished products. Into the gap stepped the more adventurous businessmen. Tailors and Lloyds began in High Street, Birmingham in 1765, serving the iron industry and offering 2% interest on deposits. Samuel Boulton, a member of the Lunar Society, established a bank in Birmingham serving local gun manufacturers around 1780. Similar banks were established in towns and cities across the country, each issuing their own individually numbered and signed notes. There was little regulation. Anyone could set up a bank, and crashes were inescapable. In the recession that followed the end of the Napoleonic Wars in 1815, country banks were failing at the rate of one a week, but recessions pass, and as largely debtors of the banks rather than their creditors, the larger industrialists were able to weather the occasional storm. Regulations were introduced piecemeal over time, eventually restricting the issue of notes to the Bank of England. One problem that did affect big business was a shortage of small change, needed to pay their employees weekly wages. Forgery and clipping of coins was widespread. In 1775, when the Royal Mint ceased striking copper coins because the problem was so severe, it is estimated that 2/3 of the copper coinage in circulation was counterfeit. People refused to accept copper coins. Retailers and manufacturers began issuing their own copper tokens, out of necessity, but also recognising an advertising opportunity. This 1791 example of a halfpenny token was produced for Thomas Williams, owner of the Paris Mining Company in Anglesey, with the company name on one side and a druid's head on the other. Copying the royal example of the official currency, Ironmaster John Wilkinson had his own portrait stamped on his tokens. Matthew Boulton had established his own mint in his Soho factory at Handsworth in 1788, mass-producing industrial tokens using steam-driven presses. The Royal Mint had moved on from striking coins from blanks by hand between two dies to using screw and roller presses, but it was still a process that only produced one coin at a time. Boulton installed a bank of 8 automated presses, each capable of delivering up to 85 coins per minute and fitted with a built-in counter to guard against dishonesty. As well as business tokens for the likes of the East India Company, Boulton's Soho Mint produced medals and supplied coin blanks to the USA and supplied copper and silver currency worldwide, including to Australia, New Zealand, Russia and countries in South America, Africa and the Middle East. In 1797, Boulton's Soho Mint was awarded a contract to strike new 1 and 2 coins for the Royal Mint. The design by top European medal artist Heinrich Kückler had a raised rim with incised lettering to counter clipping and forgery. The raised rim and the size of the coins led to the nickname cartwheels. At 1 ounce and 2 ounces respectively, the copper content of the 1 penny and 2 penny pieces was close to the face value of the coins. Faith in the official coinage was restored. Boulton went on to equip several national mints, including the Royal Mint, with his steam presses. I talked about the iron industry and the innovations by Abraham Darby and his successors at Coalbrookdale in part 3, and about the precision components required to build efficient steam engines in part 4. I'm going to say more about continuing advances in the iron industry next time. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons and click on the notification bell to be informed when the next video is available, or you can subscribe by clicking on the rose window over my shoulder.